Hello, I'm Tony Mann, and it's a privilege to be invited to be part of the Festival of the Girl. I'm a mathematician from the University of Greenwich, and my hobby is magic, and especially card tricks, and you can perhaps see from my tie. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to do a card trick that you can try out on your friends. This is a mind reading trick. Your friend chooses a pair of cards, and you can tell which cards they've chosen. You're reading their mind, or at least that's what you tell them. In fact, it's a trick using a piece of mathematics, but don't worry about that. There's no sums involved. It's simply a mathematical idea, and I'll explain to you how to do it. So the first step is you take 20 playing cards and you display them face up in pairs. Here I've taken 20 random playing cards and set them out in pairs on the table, all face up. And the point is, these should be random pairs, not easy to remember pairs, like 2 2s or 2 aces, but mixed up pairs so that knowing one of them, it won't be obvious what the other one is. So you've got 20 playing cards face up like this, and you ask your friend to choose and remember one pair. Any pair they like, they don't tell you which pair, but they need to remember both cards in the pair. So they might remember the Ace of Hearts and the Four of Hearts, for example, in the top middle, or the Two of Clubs and Jack of Diamonds in the bottom left, or the Queen of Clubs and Six of Spades in the bottom right. But they need to choose any pair and remember them without telling you which pair they're thinking of. Then you pick the cards up into a single pile, picking them up in pairs, making sure you keep the pairs together. So here my first pair is a King of Diamonds and Three of Diamonds, and I've just stacked the pairs up 2 at a time, making sure that the pairs stay together. Then I deal the cards out apparently randomly into 4 rows. It's not really random, and I'll tell you later how to do it, but it should look random, so you pretend to your friend you're dealing them out randomly, and you might get something like this. And I'll explain later how we are positioning them, but basically you're not putting them out in order, you're putting them out all over the place in 4 rows of 5. Now you ask your friend which rows their chosen cards are in, and when they tell you which 2 rows the cards are in, you tell them what the cards are. You've read their mind. So for example, if they say rows 1 and 3, the top row and the third row, you can tell that their cards are the Two of Clubs and the Jack of Diamonds. And you will remember that the Two of Clubs and Jack of Diamonds was one of the pairs in the original setup. Or if they say their cards are in rows 2 and 3, then their cards are the 7 of Clubs and the 9 of Spades. And again, this was a pair in the original setup. So that's the trick, but how do you do it? Well, the secret is to remember this phrase, David Lovell in Yon Abbey. It's a bit strange, but it has a very interesting mathematical property, and if you can remember this phrase, you can do this trick. So what's the secret? The secret is when you deal cards out, you do it so that each pair of cards corresponds to matching letters in the phrase David Lovell in Yon Abbey. Notice these are 4 words, 5 letters, corresponding to 4 rows of 5 cards. So if you deal the first card as the first position in row 1, that's a D in David. So deal the second card to the other D, which is the last D in David, which is in the 5th card in row 1. And basically you deal the cards out so that each pair corresponds to a matching pair of letters in the phrase David Lovell in Yon Abbey. So let's see how we do it. That's the phrase there. So I start off with D for David. My second card will be the other D, fifth position in row 1. Next card can go anywhere. I'm going to put it in letter A, second place in row 1. The second A is in the first place in row 4. So my next card goes down here. If my third card is second in row 3, then the second N, that's N, so second N is last in row 3, it's there. If the next card is fourth in row 2, that's letter E, and the second E is an E in Abbey, fourth in row 4. And keeping going like this, there's a V for David, so the next card is V in Lovell. Then I have an L in Lovell, and so the next card will be the second L in Lovell. That's the I in David. The other I is in Yon, first in row 3. And then the next card is a B, second in row 4 is a B in Abbey. And the next letter, the other B is the next letter in Abbey, third in row 4. That's third in row 3, which is Y. So that's paired with the Y at the end of row 4, the last Y in Abbey. And finally, we've got the O in Lovell and the O in Inyon paired off together like that. So that's how we set the cards out. And you do it so it looks random. Your friend has no idea that there's a pattern here. But having set them out like this, then you can do a trick. When your friend tells you which rows the cards are in, you find the letter which is common to 2 rows, and there's always only one. That's the nice thing about this phrase, David Lovell Inyon Abbey. And the positions of these letters give you the positions of the 2 cards. So let's do an example. If they say row 3 and row 4, you think of Inyon and Abbey. There's only one letter that's in row 3 and row 4. It's the Y. So the cards are third in row 3 and fifth in row 4. If they say both cards are in row 2, then the common letter, the letter that occurs twice in the second word, is L in Lovell. So the cards are first and fifth in row 2. And that's how you do the trick. You just have to remember this phrase, David Lovell Inyon Abbey. So let's look at the examples we did earlier. So first of all, suppose your friend looks at the pattern and chooses the 2 of clubs and Jack of diamonds. When you set the cards out using David Lovell Inyon Abbey, they look like this. And you ask your friend which rows the cards are in. The 2 of clubs and the Jack of diamonds are in row 1 and row 3. So they will tell you row 1 and row 3. Of course, you don't know at this point what the cards are. So you look at the phrase David Lovell Inyon Abbey and look for a letter which is in row 1, David, and also in row 3, Inyon. And that letter is I. So this tells you the key letter is I. The cards you want are fourth in row 1 and first in row 3. That's these 2 cards, which are the 2 of clubs and Jack of diamonds, which are what your friend chose. So you've read your friend's mind. For another example, suppose this time your friend chooses the 7 of clubs and 9 of spades. When you deal the cards out, like this, using David Lovell Inyon Abbey, you ask your friend what rows the cards are in. They will tell you rows 2 and 3. So you now want to find a letter which occurs in the second word Lovell and the third words Inyon, and that letter is O. That's the only letter in row 2 and row 3. So that tells you the cards are second in row 2, fourth in row 3, the 7 of clubs and 9 of spades that your friend chose. So again, you've successfully read your mind, and all you have to remember is the phrase David Lovell Inyon Abbey. So that's the key to the trick. That's what you have to remember. Now, this trick was actually performed by the great magician Houdini. I learned about it when I was in school, and I've never forgotten this trick. The phrase David Lovell in yon abbey is the key. It has the property that any two words, or any two sets of 5 letters, have exactly one letter in common, and each row has 2 of some letter. And it's very hard to find a set of words with this property. If you had another set of words with this property, you could do the trick with them. But I don't know of any other sets. So as I said, this trick uses maths. The kind of maths it uses is called combinatorics. It's the mathematics of combinations. It's a particularly fascinating area of mathematics for people like me, but it also has many useful applications in modern life. For example, in timetabling. Timetabling is complicated because you have trains using the same piece of track, and you have to ensure that trains are in the right place at the right time, and you don't have 2 trains on the same track at the same time. And combinatorics is useful there. So this is really genuinely valuable mathematics. I've shown you how to do a card trick with it, but it turns out to be very useful in many more areas of everyday life. So goodbye from me, and enjoy the rest of the festival. Thank you.